Je parle français quand je suis ici à Victoria. I always make a point of speaking French when I'm in the most English city in Canada. It's the first European school here was French speaking, not English. Now, is everybody here? Can you give us just the little likes? Because I don't see any chat yet, but I'm sure it's there somewhere. I'm sure you are here, everyone. Seriously, there's something top chat, live chat, super chat. I'm presuming everybody's here. Good morning. Does everyone want to say good morning, Diane? If you hit the likes, I do. Sorry, everyone. I feel like I'm not seeing. There's 5 people here. Oh, there you are. Paula's there. There we go. I think the chat's just delayed. All right, Paula. There you are. Robert. Hey, okay. Ready? Yep. There you go.
Hi, Paula. Hi, Robert.
Hi, Lucy. Hey, Lucy.
I'm sorry.
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
It is amazing to be here. We've had glorious weather. It's perfect. It's really breathtaking here. I love it.
It is. Hi, Sarah.
Hi, Sarah. Hi, Michelle.
So we'll do a quick. Hey, Shell. Have a look at this, everyone. So we're down in the little park with Quadra here. Quadra was sent up here from Lima, Peru, to go and find the Russians, but encountered the English that were on the side here. Hi, Joan. Hi, everybody. So we're in this little park, but we are on time. So let's go walking, shall we, Diane? It is just too gorgeous. So, hi, Merle. Nice to see you. So my brother came down and spent the night, although he's building a new fence. He couldn't decide if he wanted it dark or light. So, as we say, he's on the fence. So he went back home. He lives up island. The Black Ball ferry just came in from Port Angeles over there. So that's the ferry through there. Hey, Allison. Allison, this is Victoria, British Columbia. I am so far south of you right now. Have a look at this. So Juan Francisco de la Bodega y Cuadra, captain of the Spanish Royal Navy. So they almost went to war. It's interesting because the King of Spain, the disgraced King of Spain, was the one, hey Jill, who gave this as a gift. But this gorgeous, gorgeous city of Victoria is, I think my friend Diane, who had never seen the Pacific Ocean till yesterday, is just, I don't want to put words in your mouth, but I feel as though you're almost overwhelmed by the beauty of it.
Yes,
isn't it? Yeah.
It's very overwhelming. There's so much of it.
It is. There's so much here. Now, as we say, Victoria is the town of the newlyweds and the nearly deads. So you got the young people, the university, and of course, huge retirement thing. Did you have people from British Columbia on today? I wonder why they would leave here this time of year. Now we're going to cross over here, and we're going to do it illegally, Diane. So keep your act together. Watch both ways. So there's the Black Ball Ferry. You know what, Robert? Diane has not put her feet in the water, so I'm going to take her down to do it today. We're taking the 3 o'clock ferry back to Vancouver. So there's the ferry. There's the coho. Coho is what the Americans call the king salmon. We call it the coho. But there's the ferry that goes back and forth to Port Angeles. And the reason Port Angeles is really significant because it sits at the base of the Olympic Mountains. And why that's significant is those mountains suck up all the clouds in the winter. So little Victoria here, right here in James Bay, is always a few degrees cooler than everywhere else, but it's almost always a clear sky. It's this really genuine microclimate. So you see all these cars coming in? They're all heading down, and they're going to go across, and they can drive from Port Angeles. So it's a 2-hour crossing, and then about 2 hours into Seattle. Now, we're coming up to, there's just so much history around here. So I just thought we'd put up this little tour, all of us together, and at the same time I can show Diane some of the things we don't see driving. But as you can see, it's just everything is alive with floral beauty at the moment. Up in the distance, there's a dome up there. That is the British Columbia Parliament, or the legislature of British Columbia, and that is Captain Vancouver on the top. So Captain James Cook came up on the outside of Vancouver Island, up past Nootka Sound and all the way up to Cook Inlet. He must have been surprised it was called that, but that's up where Anchorage is, and then went back to Hawaii and got himself killed. Sorry, Paula, great question. Paula's just asking, when you arrive by ferry, is it a long way to Victoria? Yes. I mean, yes and no. You arrive into Schwartz Bay, which is the top of the Saanich Peninsula, and then you drive for roughly, if you take the quickest route, a half hour straight down into Victoria. Always for port cities, they're so much more attractive to see from the coast, really. So here's the coast offices in the old building. By the way, Paula, if you're over here, hey Mary Lou, if you're over here for a night, and this is advice to all my friends, in this place here, the steamship terminal, there's a restaurant in there, and during happy hour, I think it's $1.50 an oyster. And I really like raw oysters. I know that Diane took like 2 dozen up to her room last night. And
Late night snack.
late night snack. So I got a few things to show everyone here. So we're over by the Bateman Centre. You know Robert Bateman, famous wildlife photographer. So the BC Parliament is over on the right. But I actually want to show everyone a very interesting plaque right up here. And I want to show this to you too, Diane, because this is the plaque commemorating the boundary between the Russian Empire and the British Empire. Hi, Justina. So, I mean, it's quite an amazing thing. And that was 5440. That was that boundary line that becomes the panhandle of Alaska. That's why the otters are here. The reason the Russians were there was they were harvesting otters, which wasn't a lot of fun for the otters. An otter has more hair in 1 square centimeter on its body than we have on our whole bodies. And that's why their furs were so valuable in Russia in the winter. So that was that important boundary right here. So that's the 1825 boundary. And there's Yukon. Now in 2 days' time, I will be flying up to Whitehorse in the Yukon. And then we'll be putting up some tours up there, of course. But I'm also going to have to sing to you every day. And I will sing, I am long gone to the Yukon. Those northern lights I want to see. And we did see the northern lights last night here. I had to put the phone on long exposure. But there is the British Columbia Parliament building there, the legislature, way bigger than a little nascent, distant colony would have needed. But that was Rattenbury, who was a young man who was eventually killed by his wife's lover, believe it or not, which, you know, probably going to happen to all of us. But that was the building, and he lied about his credentials in order to do it. Now, Merle, we've decided not to go to the Bouchard Gardens. My main reason for that is I think they're a ripoff. I'm paying $60 to walk around gardens for an hour, whereas we can go over to Beacon Hill and see the same flowers. So anyway, I don't actually love the Bouchard Gardens, but we did drive past them yesterday. But this is one of the most impressive Capitol buildings. The best Capitol building in Canada, not that it's competition, is actually the one in Manitoba, in Winnipeg, because that's, of course, all Masonic code. But this one's incredible, and I love the fact that you have the totem out front. And then further along, just behind the big tree, of course, is Queen Victoria herself. And Queen Victoria, of course, why I love talking about this. Here, we'll head down to the Inner Harbour. Why I love talking about it here is, of course, as many of you know, cannabis is entirely legal in Canada. And it was really legalized out here because it grows wild. Hi, Hannah Marie. And it grows wild out here on the coast. And so they used to have these smoke-ins in front of Parliament. You have 3,000 people smoking pot. Can you imagine? And under a statue of Queen Victoria, who is not amused. So my mum grew up here on the island. She wasn't French. She grew up, well, she was born in the Rockies, of course, and then they came out here after World War II. And back then, this was a very conservative, very English sort of place. But now, like, the hippies have won. Hippies and First Nations, so it's so much better. Hey, Tommy, nice to see you. I'm out here in Victoria, but I'm a Banff guy, so nice to connect with a friend in Edmonton, and congratulations on your victory last night. That was some good hockey. So we're down in the Inner Harbour here. In 1993, they hosted the Commonwealth Games, so that was really fun. But the Inner Harbour, of course, we stayed up late last night. Last night was our big night, eh, Diane?
Yes.
We stayed up late enough to see the lights come on, and it was just gorgeous. So, yeah, beautiful Vancouver Island. But this is the Inner Harbour. Now, I saw a bunch of the whale watching ships going out this morning. But it's a good, healthy, clean harbor. And there's over on the other side, there's one of the water taxis heading out. And that is the Delta Hotel. That's actually the city of Esquimalt. And that's where the Canadian Pacific Fleet is as well. So the tide's actually quite low at the moment. It's a shame it was not higher, because I was going to throw you in, Diane, but I think it's just not deep enough at the moment. But let's come along. So here we are welcome to Victoria. You know what, Justina, you're exactly right. Oysters and cannabis. what else do you need? Yeah. Excuse me, I still have a tiny tickle in my throat, but it's pretty much all done. There's the famous Empress Hotel. Now, the Empress Hotel is really significant for a lot of reasons. So, when the train was finished, November 7th, 1885, across Canada, it took 9 days to get from Montreal to actually Port Moody. Vancouver didn't even exist at that point, really, and then it became Granville. Then you would take a ferry over here, but from here, the Empress sailed to Asia. So it's because of the trains across Canada that, in theory, the sun never set on the British Empire, right? I very intentionally went to Hong Kong the year of the handover to watch the sun set on the empire because I'm not a huge fan of empires. But the Empress is classic. It's actually family owned, although it's, there goes the coho. Well, either coho or something we ate. But there's the coho is about to pull out as it will sail over. Hey, thanks, Natalie. Appreciate that. So... yeah, it is. It's not huge like our ferry that we're taking over to the mainland. So when my mom was a child, it was an overnight ferry from here to get over to the mainland. And now we drive call it a half hour, but 40 minutes roughly, check in, and then we sail over to Tsawwassen. And from Tsawwassen, it's about 40 minutes as well up into central Vancouver. So Diane and I are going to get up and we'll get checked into the hotel and park the car tonight, because Vancouver's a little different. Tomorrow we will take the car out. Do keep your eyes peeled, because we'll almost for sure do a tour at Granville Island. But because tomorrow's Sunday, we're going to go out and see Stanley Park early in the morning, and then we'll get to Granville Island right when it opens and we can park. But Greater Victoria is about 450,000 people, but there's actually something like 16 different municipalities that make this place up. This is the most left-wing city in Canada. And for all of you people who really hate socialism, as you can see, it's just a disaster. look at this communist hellscape here. But this is very progressive. Oh, Robert, thank you. It is Mother's Day today. No, that's tomorrow, right? Tomorrow. Sorry. Yeah. I was just thinking of my mom. I talked to my mom yesterday, everyone. We're actually going to go up the stairs here. But the inner harbor is just so gorgeous here. Yeah, but yeah, Mother's Day tomorrow. So I will call my mummy. Lucy, I won't visit my mom because I'm out here on the coast, but I will talk to her. Saw her, and actually Diane met my mom, which was really fun. So once again, I don't know if I told you this before, Diane, but one time I was here and I called the police because I said there's a man with a gun at the War Memorial. Because none of us have guns here, thank goodness. I will, Nat. So look at this. Now, I want to come and show everyone. So you can look at the ledge all day. There's the British Columbia Royal BC Museum. And that tower, Natalie, apropos, it was a gift from the Dutch because it was regiments from Vancouver Island right here that fought to liberate the Netherlands during World War II. And my grandfather was part of that. And he came home on a hospital ship. He was a captain in artillery. And this bell tower, which looks very austere, but it's beautiful clarion bells, my father actually had music that he composed played there. So it is a pretty wonderful thing. Now, across from us is the gorgeous statue of Emily Carr, and she's really the mother of art in the west of Canada. Emily Carr University is over at Granville Island, so remember that for tomorrow, Diane. But there she is over there with her pet monkey. And sometime I always want to get this monkey off my back, but it's a long shot. Here we go. Fort Victoria was erected by the Hudson's Bay Company in 1843. They could not attract people here. There are fewer than 500 people. And if you've joined me up in Nanaimo before, you've seen the old tower there that was to the Bastion Tower. So it's very significant. Now there's the float planes coming in and out. I mean, how gorgeous is that? See them? So there's coming into land and going out. Sorry, Robert, what was the name of your middle school? Victoria? But yeah, there's one going out and they fly over, and the flight over to Vancouver, you get into the inner harbor in about 35 minutes. My favorite flight is actually Vancouver Harbour to Nanaimo because it's like 21 minutes. Oh, Emily Carr. Yeah. So there's an Emily Carr as well in Calgary, but Emily Carr University. So the group of 7, I'm sorry, everyone might still have this tickle in my throat, but that group of 7 was Tom Thompson and Harris and all of them who really gave birth to the Canadian arts movement. But here, isn't it lovely, Sarah? I'm glad you. But Emily Carr, who was born out here to quite an elite family, she went and studied in Paris and London, but she came home, thank you, Michelle, and spent the rest of her life up the coast. And she was an advocate for both Indigenous people, but for art, for Indigenous art. And apparently one of the group of 7, when they met her finally, they said, "You're one of us." So it's the birth of our own art here on Turtle Island. So we're pretty proud of ourselves that way. And her house is actually just up the road. And I know some of you know there's a guide here, Elizabeth, who does virtual tours. I didn't call her on this trip only because we were literally here one night, but she does an excellent tour of Emily Carr's home, but she's so busy right now because she's doing day trips from the cruise ships. Now, you've got the hop on, hop off. So this is leading up to Government Street. And way up the end of the street is where you get to Fiskard, which is Chinatown. It's the oldest Chinatown in Canada, second oldest in North America. The oldest one, of course, was in San Francisco as Chinese came over for the gold rush. We cannot stress enough how horribly racist colonial Canada was. And there's a lot of points to make about that, but specifically, the Chinese labor was brought up here to build the trains. They were paid half of what white people were paid, and they used the dynamite. We say for every kilometer of train in the west of Canada, 2 Chinese workers lost their lives, and it's very important. They tried so hard to become part of the society, and they built their gates to welcome people. And as soon as the trains were finished, the government of John A. Macdonald passed a law that they would have to pay $500 to bring their wives over. It might as well have been $5 million. So it took till the 1980s, and Brian Mulroney, who died just a little while ago, was the Prime Minister, actually apologized to the Chinese community. And of course, here in Western Canada, particularly in British Columbia, the Chinese-Canadian experience is massively important. So it is an interesting Chinatown. It's small, but there's famously Fantan Alley, which is the narrowest street, and that's where all of the opium used to be sold. Now, over here, for years, there was a statue of James Cook, and the Indigenous people picked it up and threw it into the water. And you know what? I don't need that statue to be there to still know that history. It's amazing how that works. And it is, oh, look at this over here. There's a gentleman in a kilt. Yeah. So I don't know if Ali's still here from the Highlands, but we introduced kilts from Canada to Scotland a few years ago. But of course, you do have this deep, deep Scottish influence. Oh, Jennifer, thank you for saying that. So I did do, hi Pauline, gosh, I didn't see you here. I did make a post the other day from Mount Robson about the internment camps. Now, World War I, Eastern Europeans were interned, and they built a lot of the roads that are in our national parks because the government of Canada had no welfare at all. And they used that kind of labor to forced labor. By World War II, it was over 20,000 Canadians of Japanese origin were rounded up off the west coast and interned. I actually do have one family friend, more of my mom's generation. Well, it's lovely to have you. Oh, Pauline, I'll just show you down around here. Look at the beautiful thing. Do you see how it's called the Prince of Wales? Because they go out and see the orcas, which aren't actually technically a whale. That's actually how Donald Trump spells whale. But yeah, we have a family friend. And when I was living in Chile, their son came down and stayed. And then when I met them, they were, she was Japanese Canadian by background. I didn't know. And I said, "Where'd you grow up?" And are you from Vancouver? She said, "Well, I actually grew up in the Kootenays." And I'm like, "Oh, a beautiful place to grow up." She said, No, I was in a concentration camp because they were all rounded up. So, it's very significant history. Natalie's wondering, Diane, if you're enjoying yourself.
Well, actually, immensely, very much. Thank you for asking, Natalie. It's just been incredible, amazing, breathtaking. You know, you get to the point where there is no more adjectives because it is so gorgeous here. I'm going to come and live here.
It's you see why people retire here.
Yes,
Yeah, I mean the climate is perfect, and the people are friendly, and it's relaxed, and it's an important place. But I tell you what, my friend Diane was a little nervous yesterday getting on the ferry. She'd never seen the ocean, and she didn't know what everyone always struggles with. They think they're going to get sick on the ferries, but they're so stable. Oh, you got the cool music, and then you got the hippie. Remember, we are on Vancouver Island here at the end of the day. But the beauty of this particular place, well, the crossing of the water, and of course we're getting this perfect weather, which happens a lot here, but this perfect weather. And I think we'll head up government because I want to take you just at least as far as the big mural of Vancouver Island. So we're going to head inland a little bit. Michelle, it's lovely you say that. I mean, I think, this is obviously a beautiful country. I think and obviously Diane comes from Wisconsin, which is a big state as well, and not densely populated. But when you spend 2 days driving like 1,100 kilometers down across British Columbia, you get to see just the vastness of it. And Justina has just said it's so laid back. That is absolutely true. And I think it's been fun for Diane as well. Like, we all just chat, like whatever age we are, whatever. There's just none of it is a big deal, and everyone's relaxed. Oh, that's the coho heading out now. Oh, look at that, Lululemon opening up. Remember, Lululemon's got its headquarters in Vancouver. That's where it's from. And one of my favorite stories is I do the grouse grind so much when I'm in Vancouver. I hike up to Grouse Mountain, and you'll get someone like right in front of you, super fit, wearing their Lululemon yoga pants, and she'll always say, "Oh, you can pass." No, I'm good. Now, the sad thing here, the horn's great, isn't it, Jennifer? Now, I told you that we're still Victoria's named after, of course, Queen Victoria, and she was clearly married to, I guess, the Burger King. I guess it's a monarchy of some sort. Actually, around the side over here is the mural. When they named this after Queen Victoria, she was extremely young. She didn't even know that this nascent colony was named after her. But you'll see that in the title of this, I have actually put in Lekwungen, which is actually the name of the indigenous community. There is really, really good archaeological evidence that people have been living down the west coast of Turtle Island for 40,000 years now. So, Northwest Origins Gallery and Gifts. You got all the touristy shops. There must not be a cruise ship in today, or maybe if there is, they're just getting off. Because yesterday was crazy busy, but really beautiful clothes. And but here, Justina's like, "Hey, Justina, keep in mind, June 11th, I will in Liverpool." Oh, look at these. See these t-shirts? You maybe want to consider one of these. You're taking a picture of the bear, but do you see that? That's the West Coast. Yep. All that nice. I always check the tags though and see that they're actually made here. So coming in, I just want to go as far as Bastion Square, everyone. But this is the mural that I needed to show Diane. I told her yesterday we'd be walking everywhere. Yep. So up on the west coast is Nootka Sound. That's where Captain Cook arrived, 1778. Do you know, I have some colleagues who do virtual tours who still seem to think that those colonizers were good people. But up in the middle, you've got Texade Island, Lasqueti Island. But down where the ferries come over, right across there, that's where you have... Sorry, Justina says, "Don't worry, you've got Burger King." Oh, no. Thanks, Sarah. Justina, when I'm in Liverpool, there's only one thing I can have for dinner. Chicken and chips. And a can of Coke. That's my best Liverpudlian accent I can do for you. So, Nanaimo, so my brother lives up where it says between Parksville and Qualicum up there. See? I'm making Justina laugh because she gets it. It's there's the old customs house. Oh, there goes the ferry right out. See it in the distance? Yep, there it goes. Turns around in the inner harbor. But let's go up. We're just going to go up as far as Bastion Square, everyone. And then I'm going to take Diana all the way up to the Cowichan Trading Company. And that is that is an indigenous shop. The one in Jasper was actually closed. So before we leave, oh, look at this, Paula. Kedmil Falcha. There you go. 100,000 welcomes. But and there you go. So we got but it is funny. There's a sort of conspiracy to still feel kind of British Irish here, because for the Americans, they feel like they're coming to that sort of part of the world. You might remember a few blocks out is Big Bag John's, which is the oldest pub in all of British Columbia. Do you remember I did a tour in there? I started one once, yeah. That's where all the braziers are on the wall, but I never found one that fit. So, but this is nice. They've pedestrianized these couple of streets of Government Street, so it is just lovely. So, sorry, I'm just a bit distracted myself. Here's the Bard and Banker, another classic pub. But this was all the old Government, and then one more block you get to the Irish pub, which was rated the best Irish pub in the world outside of Ireland by whomever rates such things. So as we come up Government, there's the Bay Centre, but the old Hudson's Bay building, the beautiful building, has turned into a market. A little disappointingly, it just isn't as good. Oh, there goes the Coho heading out, Port City. And for those of you who don't love the cold of Western Canada, this is the best climate in the world. So right now, that's true, Michelle. Oh, this is just great. I'm gonna have to come back. I don't have any coins on me at all. It's so hard now to tip buskers and everything because we just don't carry money the same way, which is why you're allowed to do these wonderful super tips here on YouTube. Now you still see, this one's new, the Churchill whiskey craft beer. I'm not a big, and you will see there was a gentleman out on the street here. You do get homelessness, and there's no excuse for that. No excuse in a society like this to have any homelessness whatsoever. But of course, this is a place where you can afford to live outside. The tunes are awesome. Sarah, you're absolutely right. I've done that in London where I've, whatever you call it, interact the money or something. So there it is. There's the old Irish pub, the Irish Times. But here is Bastion Square, and this was the old Fortress Square. And this was kind of the heart and soul of the first fort. In fact, it's right over here. This tablet marks the site of the bastion, which stood at the northeast corner of Fort Victoria. So there we go. And there was only 500 people. And in fact, it was Dunsmuir who came over, and his wife did not want to leave Scotland. And he said, if you come to me, I'll build you a castle. And he became rich off the coal mines up around Nanaimo. You'll remember Nanaimo was built in the semicircular way to ship the coal down to the coast. And then he built her a castle here. So there is one. Hey there, lonely hippie. So why don't we, how are we doing for time? Let's just wander down here for a minute. I want to take Diane. We drove past here yesterday. You've got pubs either side, live music, of course. Our friend Sayuri was telling me I have to take Diane out for live music, but Diane will be out way later than me tonight. She'll be out in the discos in Vancouver. So Vancouver will feel like a very big city because it is a very big city. But here in Victoria, it's all quite civilized. They have a height restriction on buildings, but housing, of course, has become incredibly expensive here. Everyone's saying have fun. Look at this gorgeous building over on the right here. Lots of kind of crafty stuff. And of course, people are extremely fit and healthy around here because it's just the outdoor lifestyle. And it really does make a difference, I think. So because it's the weekend, you get all these nice kind of public market stuff out here. But I just thought we'd go down just far enough to take everyone to the inner harbour one more time. Now, I've done lots of different virtual tours in Victoria over the years. I will be back here, but I'm never back here enough because it's the kind of place that I'm happy to come back to. Do you know, when my dad lived here, they say the land of the newlyweds and the nearly deads, and every year I'd come out and visit. I'd visit him every month, and I would every year as I got a year older, I liked the place more. it's kind of, it's kind of made for retirement. The demographics are hilarious, the age demographics, but because of course we have lots of people entering kind of retirement age in this country, I think that everything will chug along just fine for a long time. By the way, what we're walking over, it says Justice Got to move back. Yep. Oh, careful. Yeah, justice, more peace. Isn't that lovely? So this is part of the reason I stay. I mean, obviously I'm a mountain kid through and through, and I love where I live in the Rockies, but I also stay in Alberta to keep the flag waving for equality and diversity, and fight against our terrible premier. But out in this province, the politics out here are just so nice and inclusive. So there is a ferry coming in the distance. That is the Clipper. And that is the ferry that goes back and forth to Seattle. So it's a high-speed ferry, doesn't take cars. And I can't tell you much more about it because I've never been on it. But I keep trying to build it into a tour. I know where it takes off from Seattle, but and there, the Coho is still going around the corner up in the distance. So it had to pull over to let the Clipper in. But isn't that just fantastic? Oh, and my favorite restaurant in town is right across the street. Can you see why? Right across the street out there. Because it's called Finn's.
Yep. Now I see it.
So it's Finn's. And I have this wonderful bias towards Finn. So you got it. Look at there's the Clipper coming in. All right there, ladies and gentlemen. Listen, thank you very much for your contributions, and thank you very much for your friendly support.
Bye, everybody.
Diane, shall I just leave you here forevermore?
Yes.
Yeah.
Find me a place to live, and I'm here.
Yep. You only need like just throw away a spare million, and you can get a 1-bedroom.
I'll take it out of the bank.
Yeah. No, ça fait plaisir. Paix amour. Thank you. It's so nice to have everyone connected. Lots of love to all of you. I will let you back into the inner harbor because, that's almost as beautiful as looking at Diane. Thanks, Sarah. Thanks, everyone. Listen, happiness to all of you. Watch. I'll put something on probably at Granville Island tomorrow. I might. Hey, thanks, Carol. Nice to see you there. I'm sorry if I miss people. The chat goes by. But I think I might do another Facebook Live or YouTube Live sailing out of Schwartz Bay later today. That would be 3 o'clock local time, just because it's nice to have those as videos. So there's a big plan. Anyway, lots of love, peace to everyone. And remember, this is what a socialist hellscape looks like. So if you wonder about my political view on the world, thank you, Jennifer. Big hugs. Take care. Thanks. By the way, everyone, hitting those likes and sharing is apparently a really good thing. I meant to say that. All right. Lots of love.